Welcome to Her Palette with Assumpta Dickens, an Oroco radio talk show brought to you by Omega & Co. in collaboration with Oroco Radio. Hi, Samuella.
Hi, Assumpta.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining me. I am super excited to have this conversation with you. I feel like it's such a full circle moment from our very first studio visit to our meetup in Lagos, where you invited me to your solo exhibition at Winter Gallery, and yeah, to my couch.
Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. So Samuella is a multidisciplinary artist based in Accra, Ghana, with a degree from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, with a degree in communication design, film, and animation major. Samuella initially honed her skills in the advertising industry, working as a graphic designer and creative director for both startups and established companies. Currently called Samo, she's dedicated to a career as an artist where she leverages her talents to spotlight period poverty. Through her art, she addresses the critical health issues and hardships women face due to inadequate resources, cultural taboos, and systemic neglect, making her a significant voice in both the local and global art community. It's so lovely to have you today. So Samuella, let's get right into it. Your art encompasses a diverse range of mediums and themes, right?
Yeah.
Showcasing a unique narrative and stylistic flair. Could you share more about who you are as a creative, your creative process, and how you approach the intersection of the different disciplines in your work?
Okay, so my journey as an artist has been a really long one, like moving from having to do digital art, then to now the traditional art. For me, with every work I create, I always have to get a storyline, and usually I would like to create for a particular project, right? I would create art pieces in the different mediums I can create in, like the digital art, like a collage work, traditional painting. So I would see which technique works best for the story I'm trying to put out to people. So I would explore all the different techniques I'm able to create, and then basically showcase my work in the best technique. My art didn't just start from the fact that I decided to just become an artist one day. It was a long journey. Basically, I was a graphic designer, and obviously I was not really enthused about that field, right? So I went in circles, basically. I went in circles, and then finally I decided that I can't stick to one thing, because anytime I try to stick to a certain medium of style, I would find myself going back to doing other things. And I thought to myself, why not just exploring all these giftings I have than to stick to one specific style. Yeah. So my art has been like a roller coaster, let me say.
I love the term you used, less roller coaster, more giftings. Just in a way that, you realize that you have a talent for just expressing yourself and using different mediums, and then also having the courage and strength to actually delve into that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists as you grow your practice over time, you're told maybe stick to one style.
Yeah.
So even as an emerging artist, you have to have had and have a lot of bravery
Yeah.
to be able to say that I do so many different things and I want to be able to explore that
Yeah.
and actually go for it. So I really commend you
Thank
on
you
that.
so much.
So what makes up a storyline for Samuella? I feel like you are such an intriguing human. You're very vibrant in just your expressive use of colors. Your personality, even your personality is very vibrant.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued to know that what actually makes a storyline in your head. In Samuela's head, what is a storyline?
Every day and everything that happens around me is basically a story. Like, I don't see, I see, like, whatever I see around me, I make it into a story. Or my personal life, whatever happens in my personal life, what happens in people's lives that are close to me, people, like, basically everyday things, right? So I'm able to create stories from the things that happen around me and then incorporate it into my art. Yeah, basically, it's just everything around me.
Right. Tell me a bit about your artistry in itself. What kind of mediums have you started working with? If you can start with like an evolution of basically how your practice as an artist. So what kind of artist are you? And how has that sort of just moved?
Okay. So I would call myself a dynamic artist, right? I do so many different things. I started painting, acrylic painting, abstract, when I was way younger. And then it moved
Is that
from...
acrylic on canvas?
Yes. And it moved from that to digital art. So I used to do a lot of digital art about myself on my personal Instagram page. And
Are they self-portraitures or just
so they were
centered around your own experiences?
they were centered around me, and they were also self-portraits. And yeah, so I was doing surreal art pieces with those. Then I was actually not satisfied with creating those because I felt the need to use my hands, right? And so for the longest time, I wasn't able to create like paint because I was basically depressed until one time I decided to try my hands again at painting. And this time it was a self-portrait of it was a self-portrait. So yeah. So from that time I was like, oh, I actually like to paint. So why am I like not also exploring this side of painting? So I moved from being an abstract painter to be a surreal digital artist, and now I was doing pixelated portraits. And so that's how I started with my portraits, my pixelated style. And now I have actually delved into doing collages too. I use like the leftover of my paints and leftover of my canvases to create art pieces, just because I think art supplies are too expensive to throw all those things away. So it's like there's always been a stage and a time and a meaning to anything I make. So it's like I just don't make it out of or for the fun of making something. At a point in my life, there has been a reason for whatever I've created. Yes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you say that if you're comfortable with this, your depression sort of motivated you and pushed you to also create? I think I'm trying to understand how you've sort of navigated being a creative and having these depressive episodes and how you've been able to come out of that.
I honestly don't know how to put this, because when I was depressed, I wasn't able to paint. Right. it was very difficult. I would try. I would like start something and it's like, I'm not interested. But I was able to do digital work. Yeah. So I don't know.
What do you think that is?
I feel like because at that point in my life, I was more into graphic design. So it just felt like a getaway from having to do corporate work, so I could have fun with what I know from graphic design. Yeah, so that's how it started for me. So
Yeah.
I wasn't able to paint when I was depressed.
Right.
Yeah.
My studio visit with you was very enlightening. I got to see you portray so many different art forms, right? You had the period panties hanging. I sense how, the awkwardness when people come into the studio and it's like, what is this around me? And then you laughing and being excited, that laugh, exactly, because that's the reaction you're looking for.
Yes.
Right, because the entire thing is sort of like debunking the stereotypes around that. And then I saw the pixelated works, right? And I see how you've moved through from one medium to the next, right?
Yeah.
And I guess what I really want to understand is what mediums are you currently focused on, right? And how do you, today I'm navigating this medium, and this is why I'm navigating this medium. Like you said, it begins with a storyline.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you moving from one medium to the next. There's something that's happening through you, right? So yeah, let's pick one medium and let's start there.
Okay. So I feel like there's a natural flow when it comes to me creating my stuff, right? So I pick a topic, let's say I'm doing period poverty. So, and I'm giving an example, right? So for my period poverty work, I had the idea to start a whole different series using ropes, right? So I was using ropes, so that was like a collage. And then with time, as I progressed in creating these pieces, I explored further, and then I was like, I'm able to still create these pieces in pixels, but how best can I render this topic in a pixel form? And I wouldn't be able to do that using ropes because the ropes are like I'm actually using the ropes as collage, right? But then the pixels, they're like squares. So am I going to paint square ropes? So instead of the ropes, what can I use to represent the same theme, right? And then I come up with red roses, right? And it's like, okay, so with this, I can best represent this with the red roses. So that's basically how my work, the flow of my work goes. Like, it's like a natural flow.
Right.
Yeah, it just happens.
Right.
So I can be creating and then something just comes up. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop the whole entire series. I would continue with the flow. Yes. That's
right. So with a background in communication design and advertising, how has your professional experience influenced your art?
Okay, so I feel like it has both the negative and the positive side. With that being said, I'll say for the positive side, I'll say in graphic design, we learn about branding and always trying to put the story out for our audience and trying to make like I said, the storyline.
The storyline, right.
So I've used that knowledge from my graphic design background into my paintings. Also learning about color palettes and all those principles. I've been able to also incorporate those principles into my art. But I also feel like the downside of the whole graphic experience into my painting has been the fact that I have always tried to be perfect. In the beginning, when I started painting, I always tried to like have straight edges. I tried to have like meticulous lines, like everything. I was going within like a box, let me say. I wasn't trying to explore, right? I was basically using the rules I had from my graphic in into my art. And for me, I thought art is something liberal, like it should be free, it should be free flowing. So why am I forcing myself to be perfect, right? And so that was the negative thing for me, because I did I just I would go for an exhibition and I'll see someone's painting and it's really not complete. But for me in the beginning, I'm trying to finish every square. I'm trying to put make every detail right. And I had to unlearn that and try and be free on my canvas. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that's what birthed the pixelated series?
Also, okay, so for the pixelated series, it was basically about my eyesight. It was one day that I thought I was getting more blind. Yeah, so with that, I was like, oh, and then I'm able to create something in relation to blurred vision, right? And so at that time, I didn't think of it as my graphic design being implemented into my art. But with time, it's like as I practice and try to grow the craft, it's like I've been able to like understand that, okay, what I learned in graphic design, like the more the pixels, the clearer the image, right? So it's also the same thing when I'm painting my work. It's like the more squares I put there, the sharper the painting is, and the less squares, then it means the more blur my painting will be. So it's basically over a period, then I realized, okay, it's because I'm getting I'm getting the understanding of the whole pixel art because of my graphic design background. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like everything you said sort of just connects it and ties it all together. Because when you think about the graphic design background and the principle of symmetry and things should be this way, and then you also then said that why you after perfectionism,
Yes.
right? And then somewhat you end up creating something that is far from perfect, right? But you give it its own definition of perfection through the blurriness when it comes to like the textures and then the layering, right? So I feel like everything is kind of connected when you think about it in that idea,
Yeah.
So as we said earlier, your work delves into themes such as women's experiences, period poverty, cultural expectations. What drives you to explore these topics? And how do you hope that your art contributes to conversations surrounding these issues?
Okay. I was actually creating art because it was beautiful. Right. That was before. And then now I'm having to create meaningful art so that I can add my voice to all the things that are happening all over the world, all of around us, even in my life, right? I got really interested in the period poverty topic because one time I was arguing with my father. I didn't want to say this, but I was arguing with my father about periods. And so he gave me a scripture in the Bible about how when a woman is on their period, they're unclean and they shouldn't be holding the Bible and they shouldn't be seen in the church and stuff like that. So I was arguing with him that this thing is the thing of the past. It was in the Old Testament. So why is he like trying to make it a big fuss right now in this current world? And he's like, well, you can't just take one side of the Bible and leave the other side. So we had a back and forth, and I felt I disrespected him in that back and forth, right? But I didn't mean to, because I felt like he should see me as his daughter and then try and understand where I'm coming from as a woman as well, you know. And the fact that he thought about this period thing and made it seem like it's a taboo, like we're in 2024, you know, what's so bad about a woman having her period? So then I got interested in the topic, and then I started volunteering with an NGO, sorry. And then with that, I was like, if I'm doing all these things, why can't I just use my art to add my voice to the whole period poverty
conversation? Right.
Yeah. And so I saw the need to add my voice to it. And that's how it started for me. Yeah.
So, what would you say is the messaging of your work, like your practice as an artist? As this you call yourself a multidisciplinary artist, right? Period poverty is just one topic.
Yeah.
Right? What sort of drives your practice as an artist?
What drives?
Yes. Like, what are more of the conversations you are trying to have? Because I understand period poverty is just one.
Yeah.
It's like a social issue, right? So what are more of the conversations, or is there a central theme around what your practice evolves around?
In recent times, it has been about women, basically.
Okay.
So it has been about women, the struggles women have gone through. And currently, I'm also working on celebrating women. So it's not always about struggles women go through and whatnot. I also want to give women their flowers whilst they are here. So I want to also celebrate women. So basically, my practice goes around women. And as a woman myself, I would like to celebrate myself too.
Yeah, where does that desire to celebrate women stem from? Where does it come from? Does it date back to like maybe your mom, your grandmother, or is it something you navigated on your own?
Well, with that, I just think women are just hardworking people. Because I always see, like, I've always had this argument with my friends about how women have been in the past and how women are right now, currently. You know, how in the past our moms were at home. They were like just house keepers, let me say. But right now, we find our moms going to work, having a job, and having to also keep the home, right? And it's because of, I say it's because of feminism. That's why we are able to have our women also go to work as well as come home and then keep the home.
So you would say your work is feminist in its approach, right? And how have some of these feminist beliefs shown up in your practice? This is someone I know. But it starts by, you saying that you love to celebrate women, and I love that for you as well, and the period poverty as well. Yeah. You do consider your work to be feminist in its outlook, right? In what ways do you feel that your work is feminist?
First of all, I paint women, and it's everything about women, like their lifestyle, how they dress, what they look like, their physique, anything about women. So I feel like my work describes the ideal Black woman. And yeah, so my work basically celebrates women. Yeah.
Yeah. I also noticed at the Windsor exhibition that some of the women had really beautiful natural hair styles as well. So yeah, that was really beautiful to see because I'm a natural hair lover. You would usually find me in a bantu. Today's a Friday. And yeah, I see you also growing your locks as well. So that's super. Another journey in its own, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I would say that from local exhibitions in Ghana to international showcases like in Abidjan and Cote d'Ivoire. How was that, by the way?
Oh, it was amazing. It was, let me say, my first big show. And I love that because it was a show that came out of the blue.
Right.
And yeah, I was grateful for the experience and for the fact that I was able to show my work and then to an international market and an international audience. Yeah, I was basically grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. I do consider you as an emerging artist. Do you consider yourself as
Yes,
an
I
emerging
am an
artist?
emerging artist.
And I would think that, you know, the landscape here, not very, what's the word? Kind? Is kind the right word? I mean,
Maybe.
how would you, as an emerging artist, how has that journey been in navigating the contemporary art space?
In my country, in Ghana.
I mean, well, you're now global because you're doing, you're doing Abidjan and everything.
Yeah.
So, and what are some of the challenges you faced, you know?
I mean, it can be difficult because I'm like, people always say you should be known for a particular style. And for me, having to be creating in different mediums, it's like, which one are you creating? We want to know you. And there are so many people out there. How best can I sell myself and be seen by others, right? So there's a little bit of struggle with that, but I feel like with time, I will be able to navigate the whole. Yeah.
Question though, are you trying to sell yourself or are you trying to express yourself?
I am actually trying to express myself, and in doing that, I should be able to
Sell yourself.
Yes.
But do you ever get caught in this idea that, because sell implies commercialization quite a bit.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of emerging artists get trapped in that mindset of to be able to be global, to be able to this, there has to be heavy commercialization, which then takes away the love of the art itself.
Yeah.
Right? Have you faced this and how have you navigated this?
Okay, so for me, over the years, I've always mainly focused on creating. Right, like I told you about the Abidjan show, it just came out of the blue. So I have always focused on creating. But with having to create, right, you need funds. Like you need money to support what you're doing. So I would lie to you if I say I'm just creating and I don't need money, because I obviously need to support myself to live, first of all, and to also help me purchase all the supplies I need to create the beautiful stuff. Yeah. So it's not just me creating and then not minding about selling. I feel like they should go hand in hand. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good mindset. Are there other challenges you faced as an emerging artist I think one you just mentioned is mostly the lack of funding. What are some of the other challenges you faced, and what do you think can be done to support you? What will give you support as an emerging artist? So let's start with the challenges and then move on to what do you think are feasible solutions for you?
Getting people to believe in your craft is one difficult thing. I feel like people are out there to also make money, and if they don't see how they can make money off you, then they are not going to support. That is my take. Like, for example, as an artist, I strongly believe my work is good. I strongly believe in my work. I strongly believe I have
Speak your
great
truth.
body of work.
Yeah.
But when I have to apply for opportunities and stuff like that, even in my home country, sometimes it feels like these organizations who host these opportunities or competitions, it almost feels like they know the people they want even before you apply, for me. And so it makes you feel like, then why are you even trying? But for me, I would do it just so that another person can see my work. Even if I don't get in, well, this person has seen my work, so yeah. And that's that's another way for me to like console myself and be like, okay, even though you don't get in, someone else has seen your work. And then with time, more people will get to see your work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm understanding from what you're saying is, as an emerging artist, it's been a bit hard for you to break into the industry.
Yeah.
And familiar faces, familiar artists keep getting the opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? So the thought is, as someone who's emerging into the space, if all the opportunities keep going to all the familiar artists, what is left for you? Right?
Yeah.
Right? I saw someone recently speak on that as well. And as great as, vibrant as the Accra art scene is going and growing, and we have the people that have also put us on the map.
Yeah.
These are the same people that keep getting all the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's the thought here is, how is that supposed to spread on
To the rest.
the rest of you,
Yeah.
right? What are some feasible solutions you think might be helpful? What would support Samuella as an emerging artist?
It's all about the money.
But you see, this is a mindset
Sorry.
too I don't want to portray.
Okay, that's not it.
I think it is it though, for
No.
you. And for a lot of emerging artists.
That's not it. I've been doing this with no support. So how have I been doing it?
Okay, so tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So I wouldn't say for me it's about the money, because I have skills I use to support my work. I've been a graphic designer before. Doesn't mean I don't graphic design now. I need to survive. So I still do 1 or 2 gigs here and there. I paint homes. I paint people's walls. I do a lot of things to support what I want to do. My goal is to be an artist. So however I can help myself
Get there.
I'm doing it. If it was about the money, I would have stopped long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that you feel like will help you get there?
I feel like there should be equal and fair opportunities for everybody, because because I want to give you an instance of something I applied for. I applied for an opportunity for women in Ghana, in a gallery. And after my whole application had gone through, mind you, the application hadn't closed. Another gallerist, or should I say curator, introduced me to a manager who worked in this said gallery. and told the manager about me. And the manager was like, did I already apply to their opportunity? And I was like, oh, yes, I did. She was like, oh, next time you should come to me so I tell you how best you should apply. And I'm just like, bro, it hasn't ended. So what do you mean by next time? We have not even seen what I have applied for. Like, you have not seen my application. So how then do you come to conclusion that I'm already not going to get it? Because you're already telling me next time. Do you get my point? So it's like, for me, it feels like then it means you know who you are going to pick. So you are now telling me next time when the application hadn't even closed. So I'm like, it caught me by surprise.
Like, how is this fair?
Yeah.
How is this a fair opportunity?
Yes.
Right?
So it just felt like, okay, they know the people they want to put on, but they make a big front about how they're supporting women. And I don't think that's the case. Yeah. So I just feel like we need equal and fair opportunities for all. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, what do you want me to say?
No, I want you to say something. I know that artists sometimes struggle with like perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a struggle for you?
In the beginning, it was. I mean, I haven't had any proper formal education about art, let me say. It's more of design I have done, right? And so I've learned art by watching others, by also going on the internet to also learn from other people. So in every form of art I saw, there was nothing like, they were all not trying to have like perfect work. Everyone's work was perfect to them. But for me, in the beginning, it was a struggle of, let me follow principles and rules. That was the struggle for me in order to make my work the best. And right now, I've learned to move away from that. And yeah, I'm navigating the whole art space with ease. Sometimes, whatever I want to create, I actually have a vivid dream about the things I want to create on my canvas. Sometimes I just like have a deja vu, or like have like a trance, and then I would see whatever I want to create. And I don't know about other artists, but for me, I feel like that's a really unique thing. And I can actually go straight to my canvas and then start working. But whilst other people will have to go about brainstorming and all that. And so I feel like there's some spiritual backing to me. That is what I feel. Yeah.
So this question is targeted towards you talking about a bit about your depression.
Yeah.
So I love that you say there's some spiritual backing to it. But when I speak to a lot of artists, they're moved by their emotions, things like that. Are you particularly moved by your emotions when you create?
I know people who are able to create when they're in their low moments. I'm not able to. Funny enough, I can't create when I'm down, when I'm depressed, when I'm not feeling okay. I can't channel that into creating. It's like almost all the time I have to have that energy. I have to feel good. I have to feel myself. And that's when I create best. Yeah.
You know, self-care, mental health is a serious conversation for artists.
Yeah.
And you being an artist who's unable to create when she's on the low, what are some ways that you help yourself to sort of just stay well, you know, especially when you have your low periods as well, and then you get back to creating as well?
Okay, so for me, let me say a spiritual person. I would listen to like messages, like sermons to uplift my spirit, because sometimes I can't talk to anybody because I can't even express how I feel within. So it's like I would rather listen to a message to encourage myself, or I'll go swimming. I like to
Sorry,
swim.
you what?
I would go swimming.
Physical activity.
Yes, I like swimming, or I would actually move, like travel somewhere. It doesn't have to be like a long holiday. I can just maybe pick a bus and then go to a location and then just come back by myself. Yeah, those are those are the things that help me stay sane, let me say. Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Looking ahead, what are your aspirations for your future as an emerging artist? Are there any specific projects, collaborations, or goals you're currently working towards or hoping to pursue?
Okay, so for me, there's one thing that's really on my heart. I want to be able to collaborate with other female artists to create a body of work. And I'm looking forward to be able to do that particular project. And with whichever medium the person is working with, I'm open and ready to collaborate with all female artists here in Ghana. And that's one of the goals on my heart. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And so, like, where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself?
A couple of years from now. It's like, where are we going?
I see myself all over the world, honestly. I don't see myself in just one part of the world. I want my art to reach every corner of the earth.
Manifestation.
And
Let's go.
I know it's going to happen sooner or later, but
it is happening. I saw you were in Lagos. That was not a coincidence.
yeah, and even with that, it just came to me. Like so all those two international exhibitions came to me, and I didn't have to fight for it. So I feel like
ease
with hard work, I'm just going to navigate through the whole scene easily. So yeah.
Yeah, with hard work and also putting out the energy you want to receive.
Yeah.
Like I started by, talking about your personality, who you are as a person, and how vibrant you are as well. And I believe that if you have good intentions and you put it out into the universe, good intentions will come back to you. So everything you see that feels out of the blue, it's not really out of the blue.
Yeah.
It's what you put into the universe that comes back to you. So
yeah.
Samuella, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
This has been a great conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Very insightful. Of course. I think that it's very brave of you to, pursue this career path as an artist who's multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
And just putting yourself out there in all the different mediums that you're able to express yourself, not limiting yourself, contrary to what the global standard, what the market restriction might be. So kudos to you
Thank you.
Yeah, putting yourself out there.
Thank you, girl.
Alrighty.